So good morning, everyone. And today's session is on equal opportunities and diversity. My name is Shazia Khan, and the learning outcome we'll be doing today is learning outcome 3, which is to understand issues relevant to equal opportunity and diversity. Now, just a summary of the last session that we did, which was learning outcome 2, and we looked at identifying the difference between prejudice and discrimination. And when we look at prejudice, that's kind of a preconceived opinion based on beliefs. So something that you've got in your head about someone. So can you give me an idea of where someone can be prejudiced?
According to their race. Somebody can be prejudiced according to race.
Yes, according to race. So they could say people from one ethnic minority is like this, or people from a different ethnic group of people are, like this. So they have this preconception in their head that a person's like this, and it only exists in their mind. So prejudice is, something that only consists in someone's mind. Whereas then when we looked at discrimination, what's the difference? What is discrimination then?
I think discrimination is an act that can be shown to people.
Yeah, so it's not in their mind, is it?
Not in the mind, yeah.
So discrimination can be things like, if you're treating someone different from others. So, the fact that, could it be that women are paid less than men? Could that be a form of discrimination? So the women and men are doing the same job, but the woman is being paid less. Is that a form of discrimination?
Yes, because they are doing the same type of job, so they have to be paid. So if there's a pay different, then it's a discrimination.
And it's the same job, isn't it? So yeah. And there's other forms of discrimination, like we've got racial discrimination, what we discussed in the last session, and that's where someone is treated differently because of the color of their skin, their race, their nationality, or even if they belong to, like, the traveler community. And there's lots of discrimination in the racial side, because then cases have gone to tribunals as well.
And even age.
Age is a big one.
My cousin was working in McDonald's, and after college, they were paying her less than the age, because they said because of her age. And I'm like, but you are doing the same kind of job, so why are they paying you? And he said that's the McDonald's policy. If you are under some age, you are paid less.
I think there are, students are not protected, under the age discrimination.
Okay.
So, they're not protected if they're at school. So if they work and they're at school, they're not protected under the Discrimination Act, because I think some policies in some companies, and you're right to say McDonald's, will pay less to people that are 16 and things. So that is a form of racial discrimination, age discrimination. We've also got gender discrimination. What do you think that's based on?
Difference between men and women, ladies and girls.
Unequal pay. Yeah. What about like things like, for example, there's discrimination because of inequality, because of gender-based violence, harassment that can be, and paying women for the same work can be gender-based discrimination. Also, like things like restricting education access for girls. Some places still restrict access for girls, in regards to discrimination on the basis of that. Why do you think they restrict education?
They think women will be going for maternity.
Can you just give me 1 minute? Just 1 minute, sorry. Sorry about that. So we've got different, when we go about discrimination, we look at the fact there's restricting education access for girls, and that could be, in some countries, they don't allow, you know, young girls to go to school because of, you know, maybe the law in the country, or the fact that, you know, there's inequalities. Discriminating, another one that could be under gender discrimination is discriminating against trans people in the health sector. What do you think that could be? Do you think
that would be more of, they think that, oh, because you've changed into a woman,
yes,
you have to do men's job, but you're not to do women's job because you're a man. They see you more of a man than you accepting to say that you're a woman.
Yeah,
so
it's
they'll
also
always flag your identity.
Yeah, it's also sometimes the fact that, you know, you're not given the fair treatment as well, you know, the healthcare treatment. So that's a form of discrimination, because that can be, you know, the fact that they are vulnerable to health problems and they're not given the treatment that they should be given. So learning outcome was looking at the difference between prejudice and discrimination. Now we're going to go on to learning outcome 3, which is today's session, which is to understand issues relevant to equal opportunity and diversity. So grading of this unit, the following grade descriptors will be applied to the assessment of this unit: understanding of the subject, application of knowledge and use of information, communication and presentation, and the quality of work that you submit as well. That's very important in regards to that. Key terminology. So what is equality in health and social care? In simple terms, equality in health and social care means that the same access to care services for all people, irrespective of any of the factors. You know, you should not discriminate against age, gender, ethnicity, which we went through in the last couple of sessions, background, social class. Do people discriminate on social class, or your background, or your status and things like that? Do you think people discriminate on your social class?
Yes, sometimes
Yes.
they see you that if you are poor, or
yes,
you are not working.
Yes, exactly, yes. I believe there is a lot of discrimination on social class, in not just in the health and social care, but in a lot of different professions as well. And I've taught students that say that, oh, Shaz, we don't get the opportunity because we're not rich. Do you understand? So, for example, if they wanted to go for a job, or they wanted to go for a scholarship or a sponsorship, they say they wouldn't be taken on because of the class and the job that they have. Sexual orientation, your lifestyle, the type of illness or care need, impairment, either physical or mental, and your religion or belief system. And that's a big one. Religion is a big one that there's lots of forms of discrimination. So 3.3, explore and explain the origins and principles of equal opportunity. So equal opportunity, also called equality of opportunity in political theory, the idea that people ought to be able to compete on equal terms or on a level playing field for advantaged offices and positions. Equality of opportunity is a social idea that combines concern with freedom and equality, and this social idea provides a vision of how we ought to live together. For instance, if everyone was forced to wear the same clothes, pursue the same hobbies, and have the same number of children, we would think this is intolerable. However, we should be careful not to reject equality entirely on the basis. For instance, equality before the law and equal rights to vote seem to be at the heart of the convictions. So we need to bear in mind that when we're talking about equality, that, you know, that we're fair, everyone should be treated equally. Is that always the case, that everyone is treated equally?
No.
Why? It should be that the idea was that equality before the law. What do you think that means?
But with the law, if there is anything being done, they must be treated equally with the law. What the law says, they must.
Yeah. So
Like if
everyone
there's
should be,
crime or
yeah.
anything being carried out by anybody, they must face the same correction from the law.
But does that always happen?
The same penalty. Like if there's any crisis now and they caught people, they must face the penalty. They should not base it on maybe this one is being disabled or this one is from high class or something like that.
Well, that does happen, doesn't it? It does happen.
Yes.
Yeah. What is equal opportunities in health and social care? So equal opportunities in health and social care mean that everyone should have access to the same medical treatment and social care. This is irrespective of any differences. Differences fall within the umbrella of diversity. So anyone that wants any sort of, medical treatment or anything, they should be treated equally, regardless of any sort of background or lifestyle or the ability, people should all be given the same treatment. No one should be, treated better if they are from a higher social class. And, you should be promoting inclusion, equality, and diversity in the health and social care. Because we live in a diverse society, you should promote diversity and equality. But the fact is that, do you think that everyone in the health and social care is treated equally?
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
I think because of all these points you have mentioned, maybe to age, disability, social background, their religion, like that.
Origin.
What's that, Oyi? Sorry.
I said origin.
Yeah. People are treated differently.
Religion.
Can people be treated differently if they don't look clean? Like if they come in and they look they maybe are not clean enough, then do people tend to discriminate and say they're homeless and things like that?
Yeah, because they said it's irritating. Yeah, the appearance is not good.
Yeah. But should we be discriminating on that? Should we?
Not at all. No.
No, we should be treating everyone equal, especially if it's the healthcare profession, because what are people coming there for?
For care.
For care, for
support,
medical treatment, yeah. And to be
for
obviously looked
treatment,
after, not to
Yeah.
be discriminated against. And
Yeah.
that doesn't just happen to patients, it happens to staff members as well, where there's a form of discrimination between, different staff members as well. Why is equality important in health and social care? So good equality and diversity practices make sure that health and social care services are fair and accessible to all, and that everyone is treated in the same way, regardless of who or what they are or their lifestyle. A robust and comprehensive equality and diversity policy is at the core of the provision of health and social care at both an organisational management level and on a daily basis with the provision of services by healthcare professionals and social care workers. People's differences ain't necessarily celebrated or highlighted as something out of the ordinary. Fair and equal treatment is something that should shout about, but it will never be viewed as a bonus. Something incidental to the core provision of services, but it should be right. So everyone in the health and social care should be treated equally, should be treated diverse. There should be diversity and there should be inclusion and equality. And in the health and social care, they should promote that. Equality in the provision of health and social care services is enshrined in several different pieces of UK equality legislation. We live in an ageing society in the UK. Age UK has produced statistics that reveal that 12 million people in the UK aged over 65, with greater numbers of the elderly living in their 90s than ever before. Many of these people have complex health issues and care needs. There are approximately 1.5 million people in the UK with learning disabilities who regularly interact with healthcare professionals and social care services. Equality in the provision of healthcare services has never been more important. So, you know, you are working with people with learning disabilities, people with special needs, people that are old. Should you be treating them any different to anyone else?
No.
No, no.
So should you be treating them equally, and you shouldn't be discriminating against their age or their gender or their disability?
Or disability, yeah. They should be,
Yeah,
they should not
because
be
that's a big thing though within like health and social care profession. Not within just health and social care profession, sorry, with lots of profession, disabled people are discriminated against. The reasoning is people sometimes don't know how to deal with people with disabilities. Sometimes people make fun out of people with disabilities. So it's really, really hard. You have to be really careful if you are in that profession. You are not discriminating against anyone with any sort of disability. Because there's legislation and there's laws in place that you could get, you know, as an organization, you could get done for that. You know, if someone comes in and they want a job as a nurse, okay, and they're in a wheelchair, should you discriminate against that person and not interview that person?
No.
No. You should, you know, give them a chance. Maybe they can't look after patients like that, but they can do the other nursing side of the job.
Yes.
So, you know, you need to, when you look at things like this, discrimination has, you know, over time, the law has changed. There's so much laws come in place. Why do you think different laws have come in place all the time? Why do you think there was a need for these laws to come in place?
I believe because people, some people are treated unfairly.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are treated unfairly. People are discriminated against. People are, you know, within the healthcare profession, for example, especially care homes, elderly patients are abused. You know, their families have put like, I was watching this documentary and the family had actually put a camera in their mother's room, and she was being beaten up by one of the care workers. And every time they'd come and see her, she was always full of bruises. So they thought, let's put a camera in. And they put a camera in her room and they saw the form of abuse the mother was getting from the care worker. And it was really, really sad to see that we live in a society where that happens. You know, so people, because of incidents like that, do people have faith in the healthcare profession?
Mm.
People don't have any faith then, do they? No. Because they think everyone's the same. Then you know, they actually, you know, tie everyone with the same brush. You know, they don't identify that, you know, there are good people out there. But it's because one person has done that, it makes it worse for everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so how to promote equality in health and social care. So the promotion of equality in health and social care operates on two distinct levels. Firstly, it must be inherent in the structure and policies of the care provider. It is a tangible ethos which can be demonstrated in up-to-date policies and procedures. Second, equality operates on an individual level every day, affecting how patient is treated by their care worker and healthcare professionals. No two people are the same, and the equality in their care and treatment will be totally bespoke to their situation, as distinctive and individual as their fingerprint. Inequality is the result of discrimination, and discrimination can be active or passive. So it can be overlooked or accidental. Staff should be educated in how to spot barriers and obstacles to equitable health and social care, and this should also be enshrined in the management policies in terms of compliance and ongoing education. Understanding the barriers to equality in health and social care and being able to see them is essential to their removal. Every health and social care setting should have a written equality and diversity policy. This should be implemented at management, service level, and also circulated to all team members with compliance records showing that the policy is regularly seen by all staff at least 3 or 4 times a year, and when there is an update issued. There should be regular training offered in equality and diversity, and you can test staff knowledge using online quizzes and challenges, encouraging them to think about their different patients and how they would approach their equality needs in the health and care profession. It is easy to make prejudgments or assumptions when trying to make a connection with the new patient within a health or care setting. Looking for a point of connection is a hallmark of an empathetic person, but can cause unintended bias, as it may be based on assumptions which may not be true. Even good intentions can result in accidental bias and lead to inequality. Equality impacts every aspect of health and social care, from the physical structure of the building to how each individual patient is perceived and treated. The focus should be on unique person-centered care. Potential areas of discrimination are there to highlight and alert staff. So the holistic care will automatically resolve any conflict points and ensure seamless equality for all patients. 3.2, define the concept of diversity. Again, diversity in society means to embrace and celebrate the things that make people different from one another. What kind of things can you celebrate and, embrace? What kind of things? If you want to make sure that diversity occurs within society, what kind of things can you do? Sorry?
By celebrating with all religions, maybe
Yes.
when they are doing the Eid, when they do the Easter, Christmas.
Excellent.
We should not
Yeah.
discriminate about. Yes.
Yeah. You
Because
should diverse
it's different. We are all from different backgrounds.
Yeah, all from different backgrounds. Diversity in society is so important. It could be factors such as personality, religion, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, disability, interests, beliefs, lifestyle, cultural identities, socioeconomic status, education attainment, and general work practice. So, you should be diversity, you should be celebrating people's cultural, activities such as maybe Eid or, Diwali or anything like that. Living and working in the UK today means that we interact with different people from different diverse cultural activities. Cultural festivals are often opportunities for these groups of people to share and celebrate the UK's diversity at the same time as celebrating their own diversity, cultures and religions. Christmas, any events they do, any sort of, religious events, you try to get people involved and become more diverse. We can further explore the characteristics of society that make it diverse by considering the information in the following table. So interests. Individuals with different interests can make a society diverse by bringing together groups or communities as well as individuals together over social interests or community partnerships such as school fundraising. Groups meet formally or informally to pursue interests such as playing music, reading and discussing books. There's places that have book clubs and things like that. Learning foreign languages and discussing politics or environmental concerns, etc. The beliefs are physical signs of diversity can be evidenced by different places of worship, such as mosques for Muslims, the Friends Meeting House for Quakers, or the chapel for Methodists. Age. You may see physical signs of age diversity in your community in the form of schools, nurseries, sheltered accommodation, or care homes for the elderly. Lifestyles. Lifestyles in community can be determined by the work that people do and the amount of disposable income they have. This in turn affects how much leisure time they have and how much they have to spend on their leisure and the way they live. For example, communities where there are high levels of unemployment will show different levels to those where the majority are in work. Lifestyles in rural communities may be different to those in inner cities because of access to different facilities such as transport. Personal characteristics. You may be able to see a wide range of characteristics that make up identity of people in the community. For example, different physical characteristics, ways of dressing and language and dialect. Cultural identities. You may also see a range of cultural identities in the form of types of work people do, their personal likes and dislikes, and ethnic background. All of these characteristics create a person's cultural identity. Each person is different from the next in some way, and we all contribute to the diversity of the society in which we live in some way by just being who we are. People can also make a contribution through their contact with others and by respecting others' diversity. 3.3, provide and analyze examples of positive and negative practices and the role of legislation. Why is it important that we have laws in place in the UK to protect individuals? Why do you think it's so important?
I think, as you have said, to protect the individuals and to curb some things from happening.
Yeah, to prevent things from happening. Yes, it has a big impact on legislation on businesses. The government use legislation to regulate businesses' behavior and prevent them from exploiting people. Laws protect consumers who buy from businesses and workers employed by businesses. What are the positives of legislation? So advantages of legislation include lower staff turnover, reducing recruitment costs, happier employees, meaning better productivity and lower level of complaints. The disadvantages of legislation can be expensive to ensure that all legal requirements are adhered to. For example, fire safety doors, fire alarms, things like this are really important that a business adheres to that. Any mistakes can lead to expensive legal action. And employers have to be very flexible with employees. So, the fact that there's equal opportunities there, flexible working hours, which is a big thing at the moment, people that have children, they should be taken into account. So if you don't, you would go to an employment tribunal. Okay. If you discriminate against anyone or you constructively dismiss someone and it's unfairly, then there would be a tribunal, employment tribunal that you would have to go to. So we've got the legislative framework, we've got the Human Rights Act, and what do you think the Human Rights Act does?
Protect the rights of an individual.
Yes. So the Human Rights Act is sets out fundamental rights and freedoms that everyone in the UK incorporates into the European Convention, and it protects human rights. What kind of human rights could it protect?
They discriminate like those. They protect all from discriminating. If you report, then they can do something. Or and even if you are,
what else? So it could protect your private and family life. What else could it protect?
Access to services in healthcare sector.
Human Rights Act protects your fundamental rights. So it won't be access to services such. It'll be like the right to life, the right to freedom of religion. So you're able to practice your religion as you want freely without anyone, saying that you can't wear, a head dressing or a headscarf, or, you can't wear a cross, or you can't wear a bangle, So it protects your religious rights as well. But the right to life, for example, if you are arrested by a police officer in the UK and you are tortured while in detention centre and you are killed by this torture, you die, and that's a form of protecting your right to life. Police officers are not allowed to beat you up so that you end up dying. So you have the protection of your right to life, liberty and security, so you should be protected, even though there are cases where people are not protected. But, that is the whole point of the Human Rights Act. The Civil Partnership Act 2004 was introduced in December 2005. And the reason behind that was to enable same-sex couples to make a legal commitment to each other. So it's really to, you know, get the, if they want to get married, and this was a Civil Partnership Act that identified that they were allowed to get married, same-sex individuals. And the Act, you know, said that they were allowed to get married, but they were also allowed to, you know, apply for, have a civil partnership ceremony with 2 witnesses. We've got the Gender Recognition Act. What do you think that is, the Gender Recognition Act?
Accept what the person is saying is.
I can't hear someone's saying something. I
What
can't hear you. Oh, now I can, yes.
If I say I'm a female, I'm a male, you have to accept that I'm a male without looking at my features.
Yes, but what does the gender, what does it do?
To protect my my gender, like to protect.
So under this act, the 2004 Act, it gives transgender people to apply for a gender recognition certificate, GRC.
Yeah.
And that certificate shows that a person has satisfied the criteria and acquired the gender. So this is where you would apply for the gender recognition certificate under the Gender Recognition Act. So it's not a birth certificate, it's a gender, whatever you change your gender to, it's recognized as that.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Equality Act 2006, and this provides a statutory body to address human rights and equality and discrimination in relation to sexuality, religion, or belief, or age, or gender. And this was all established by the Single Commission for Equality and Human Rights Act. Okay, then we've got finally the Equality Act 2010, and this legally protects people from discrimination in the workplace and wider society. And it also, under the 2010 Act, it replaced previous anti-discrimination laws with a single act, making the law easier to understand and strengthening protection in some situations. Why do you think, you know, there are more cases for equality? Why do you think there's more cases today? Why do you think there's so many cases today that are going into tribunals and people are suing for discrimination?
Because people are getting unfair treatment.
Yes, people are getting unfair treatment. But also, you know, the people that are getting the unfair treatment, are they aware of the law now?
Yeah.
Yes.
People are getting to know the law.
Yeah.
Yes.
People, and that's a good thing, isn't it? That we know that we have protection. So, for example, if you're working within the nursing profession and you're dismissed and you're not told why you are dismissed and you're dismissed unfairly, then you could have an allegation for, you know, unfair dismissal. You know, they need to tell you why you are being dismissed or what you have done. Because some institutions still dismiss people without telling them the reason why. Okay, so these are some of the reference we've used for today's session, which is CPD Online and Human Resource Management and Bite Size. We've finished the session today. Okay, has anyone got any questions?
No.
So tomorrow we've got the last session, which is the assignment discussion. And what I'm going to put on now is just a video for you just to have a look at health and social care within the profession, and then we'll discuss it. So I'll just pause the recording. I'll put this video on for me. Just tell me if you can hear. So the video you just watched, it was to do with equal opportunity and discrimination and equality within the health and social care profession. Now, looking at that video, do you think the Equality Act 2010 has had a big impact on the care and health care profession?
Yes.
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 Why do you think it's had a big impact?
Because it has enforced person-centered care for each individual. So it's not just treating people the same, but it's more of meeting the need of the individual.
Yeah. So, you know, from that video, it identified that you need to have different care plans for different individuals, don't you? It's not all the same.
No.
No. And also looking at the Human Rights Act, Article 14 was to do with discrimination, you know, and under the Equality Act, the video looked at the protected characteristics. What kind of protected characteristics? What are they? Remember, we looked at protected characteristics. So you've got, it could be race, disability, sex, it could be age. These are protected characteristics. Yeah. So these are characteristics that need to be protected. And also, you know, everyone needs to be, you know, treated differently. What did that what about, you know, what did that video identify to you?
There were people that they were Muslims, there were people that they were Christians, there were people that they don't belong to, like they don't have a belief. So you have to create set a social environment for them.
Yeah. And you have to, you know, that you make sure that everyone is treated equally, and also everyone, there's diversity and inclusion. You know, it's so important within any healthcare profession, mainly because there's so many elderly patients there and so many people from diverse cultures. So you need to, as an individual, be very strong. And you could see from that video, you need to be trained, don't you? Why is it important that you're trained on all sorts of new laws that come in place?
To get updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you need to be updated though?
And because certain practices that was accepted years before might not be accepted now.
Excellent. So certain practices that were accepted years before, maybe not acceptable now. For example, you know, historically, you may not been able to, you know, there was no such thing as age discrimination. Now the law says that if you discriminate against anyone that is, you know, at any age, there would be, you know, a form of discrimination there. You would go to a tribunal, you know, so it is a breach of the law, and you're not allowed to breach the law. You need to be following the law. Okay, so I hope this session's been quite interesting for you, so to understand the concept around human rights and things like that. So we finished the learning outcomes now, the 3 learning outcomes. The next session you will have, which is tomorrow, is your last session, and it will be on the assignment discussion. So we'll go through the assignment session tomorrow. I don't know if some of you want me to go through a refresher quickly of the 3 learning outcomes, then the assignment. Is that something that you want me to do first?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can refresh your mind and give you examples, and then we'll go through the assignment. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be good.
Yes, excellent.
Sorry,
At least,
Miss.
sorry.
I want to ask this question. Can
Yes.
the video for tomorrow, will you send it to some of, like me? I won't be able to be online.
No,
I'll be in
what
church.
will happen? The video will go on to Moodle, okay, and then you can get get access to Moodle. Everything will be on Moodle. It will be recorded, and you will get access to it if you're not in the session tomorrow.
Right.
Okay.
How about the first and second section? I couldn't attend to.
They're all recorded. They should be on Moodle. Yeah. But what I'm going to do, if you didn't attend the first and second learning outcome, I'm going to refresh it all tomorrow, and then we'll do the assignment discussion. Okay?
Yes,
thank you.
yeah.
Has anyone got any questions or anything?
No.
No.
Thank you for attending, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
I'll see
Thank
you
you for your
tomorrow at
time.
10 o'clock. Okay?
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.